Good morning, everybody. This is Talking Sports with Big C. To be on the show, all you got to do is call 334-799-4922. 334-799-4922. Also, we have a YouTube channel called no, YouTube channel also called Alabama's Biggest Fan, but also we're live on JockJive Sports on YouTube. Go there and you can subscribe for free and watch us live on Facebook or on YouTube. So, and also we have a Facebook page, Alabama Football with legendary Big C Colin MacGuire with local sports. And speaking of local sports, that's what we're going to start off with this morning. And we're going to, courtesy of Butler County Sports Network, that's what what we're going to do. And they're going to have their second annual Butler County Sports Network Award Show. It's already set up for May the 5th at Dunbar Community Center on Government Street. It starts at 2 p.m. And if my math is right, that's going to be on a Sunday. And we'll recognize all county teams and give out numerous awards. Good morning, Greg. How you doing? 34 and cloudy here. It's about the same. It's cloudy. Now, the computer says mostly sunny, but it's not. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. It wasn't a good weekend for Alabama basketball, and we'll be talking with Kerry Clark about that later. But anyway, the Georgiana-McKenzie outcome of the girls' game was Georgiana won 50-31. Lily Bogan scored 22 points and had 15 rebounds. Grace Bradley had 12 points. Mackenzie C.C. Bullard and Hayden Bozeman each had 7 apiece. Georgiana-McKenzie boys, Georgiana won 77-46. 4 players scored in double digits, or double figures, whatever you want to call it. Kevion Miles had 20. Nasor Cheatham had 17, Jaden Stallworth had 13, and Jacoby Morgan had 10. Kevion Miles had 11, and Jaden Stallworth also had 12 rebounds. And for McKenzie, Jay Jackson had 18 points, Jalen McMillan 10 points and 10 rebounds. And we did the Alabama Sports Writers Association had somebody put it on there, and thank you for doing that. The rankings, and as far as I know, they're still number 2. In the rankings, the main thing's what happened is getting in the playoffs and doing what you can do. Sort of what they're saying. There's not another tomorrow. There's no more tomorrow, which means if you lose, you're through. So you got to play good. Now, how does this work on these district and regional type things? They might take the top 2 teams or whatever each. But that's a lot of pressure starts building up on you and stuff like that. I'm not sure what Georgiana's record is. I need to find out. We need to get the coach on here, Coach Norris on here, and see if we can get him on here and get him to tell us about his team, because they're really good. And he's built a program down here. He's a native of Opp and played at Montevallo up in Shelby County. And then, I don't know where he was, but then I remember when they hired him, and he's turned him into a basketball power down there. And a friend of mine, Ben Whitley, was asking the other day, he said, how does a team like that turn out so good? I don't know, but they definitely got players down there. And plus, they started, and also they coach them from like probably the fifth or sixth grade on up. But anyway, they've really done really well over the years. The best they've done has been state runner up about 2 or 3 times in the state tournament. So hadn't gotten over the over up to the top, uh, up into the. They've knocked on the door on the penthouse, but hadn't opened it up yet. But maybe they will. You never know. Greenville boys lost to Andalusia 80-64 Saturday. I hope I. Arion Rudolph had 33 points, and J.J. Jackson Washington had 12. And the coach down at down at Andalusia, Mickles, won his 100th win down there at Andalusia. I don't know how long he's been down there, but we'll see what's going on there. Andalusia's a good place to coach at and live. So, I'm sorry about yawning on y'all, but anyway, yep, that's what's going on there. Greenville High School lineman Christian Jones received an offer from Birmingham Southern. Congratulations on that. And tomorrow we'll report on Greenville Middle School and Fort Dale basketball. And the basketball coach over there is Marshall Watts. Also, fairly soon, and I need to check with Josh Beverly and Marshall Watts on baseball. When I get on to Josh when I talk to him, baseball is not a cold weather sport, and they're starting it in February. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. Good morning, John Dent at Lake Martin, attempting to catch deer. Oh, dear. Well, I hope you catch a few. You need to thin it out to a certain degree. I know from personal experience they're good at causing havoc to cars if you hit them. But anyway, also, I was just thinking about something extra to talk about, and from a historical standpoint, this time 51 years ago, and we might go into it more, but Fort Dale had its second basketball team, and they had a really good team. David Bodenhammer, who was the ninth grade history teacher, was also the head basketball coach, using top water and spinning bait. Good morning to you, John, in from the frozen wiregrass. I like that. It's sort of frozen everywhere. It's gonna it might get up to 60 today, which that's good, but the sun's not coming out. It's gonna be cloudy, but that's all right. But anyway, a kind of special jig. I like that. But what I was gonna say, I'll talk real quick, cause the cardinal sin in radio is dead air. It was above freezing this morning for a change, but it was still cold to me. It's like that here. My sister told me it's 34 degrees now. Let's see what we got on the other page. Oh, good. But the starting lineup that year, we might go more into it tomorrow, was Steve Norman, Cameron Faircloth, Alan Ryan, Chris Dubberly, and the only underclassman was Bowden Murray. He was in the 10th grade, and he was a forward. I think Cameron Faircloth would be considered a center. I don't know, they might have a 3-guard offense, but anyway, the best player. So what's worse, dead air or I would say the 7 worst words you can say because you can get fined by the FCC. And if the person that made those words could probably I don't know if they'd be permanently banned, but it would ruin their career pretty good if you did that. So I think that would be your worst sin, would be the 7 words you can't say, which I'm not going to say. I'm not going to use a profanity anyway. But anyway, and we'll talk more about this in about 10 minutes or so. Alabama took on number 6 Tennessee and got up in Knoxville. They were undefeated like Auburn was in the SEC play. Not anymore. Tennessee ran roughshod over Alabama, winning by the score of 91-71. Connect, and I can't remember his first name, scored 25 points for the Volunteers. While Sears scored 22 points for Alabama. Kentucky, ranked number 8, won 105-96 over. Excuse me. Sorry about that. 105-96 over Georgia. Mitchell for Kentucky scored 23. For Georgia, Raheem scored 34 points for them. And what was pretty cool about, I watched some of that game. I had it after the Alabama game. I just kept the SEC network, well, ESPN, whatever. I was watching the Alabama game was on ESPN, and what I did was what did we do? Oh, I turned it over to the SEC network, and that was the game. And they got I can't pronounce his name. I think they call him Big C, or at least that's what it sounds like they were calling him. But they got a guy that's from somewhere over in Europe, and he was like a semi-professional basketball player. He's only 20 years old, and he made his debut yesterday, and he did very well. They interviewed him on the show. He's got a strange name, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But anyway, he did really well. Number 13, Auburn waxed Ole Miss by the score, and Ole Miss was ranked by the score of 82-59. Broome had 13 points for Auburn. Flanagan, that played at Auburn, his daddy was named Wes Flanagan, that played at Auburn, and I think he's now an assistant coach over at Ole Miss, and the son followed his daddy over there, and now he's a fifth-year player. I think he got him an extra year because of COVID, but anyway, he scored 10. He was the leading scorer for Ole Miss with 10, and they really put a number on him. South Carolina beat Arkansas by the score of 77-64. Mack had 18 points for South Carolina, and Mark, that's his this guy's last name. I need to find out, learn their first name. Had 18 points for Arkansas. Mississippi State played at the Humphrey, or they call it the Hump over there, and won 68-55. State's leading scorer was Smith with 25, while Lawrence had 16 for the Bulldogs. But anyway, okay, good. All right. Okay, we still got some games left. For Texas, A&M won 73-69 over LSU. Taylor the fourth scored 19 points. Wright scored 15 for LSU. And Florida won 79-67 over Missouri. Samuel had 17, and Bates, I think that's right, had 36 for Missouri. So here's we're doing the standings, and we're just doing the SEC records. We're not. Half years like when you were a child. I like that, John. Joe Namath is 80 and a half years old. At that age, you can begin once again to celebrate half years like when you were a child. But anyway, Auburn's leading the way at 5-0. Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky are both tied for second place at 4-1. Tied for fourth place is South Carolina, Georgia, and LSU at 3-2. Hey Brian, how you doing? I can't stay on long because we got a guest on at 8:20. What's going on, real quick?
Today's sports wise, today's Jeff Rucker's birthday today.
Yeah, he's 67. Yep.
Today's his birthday too. Barry Woods, he's 37 today.
Who?
Barry Woods is because of Wetumpka.
Oh, we don't know him. Oh yeah, Bear Woods. I know who you're talking about now. Okay.
Eddie Gentry, 72 today.
Okay, let's do sports instead. I mean, I don't mind you doing Jeff Rutledge and Barry Woods' birthday, but what do you got from a sports standpoint other than their birthdays?
The 49ers are a 7-point favorite over the Lions, and the Ravens are the 4.5-point favorite over the Chiefs.
Oh, they're favored. They're playing in Baltimore.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, all right, real quick, what was the scores of the winners yesterday?
It was the Lions 31, the Buccaneers 23, and I picked the I think I picked the Lions win 20-20. I was pretty close on that score.
Yeah.
Then the Chiefs won 27-24.
Over who?
Buffalo Bills.
Oh, okay, so they beat them. All right, well, Brian, I hate to do this, but we're going to be, in a few minutes, going to be calling up Kerry Clark. But thank you for calling, and we'll talk to you later.
Hey, Lewis Wood and John Dent.
Yeah, thank you for saying hello to them. We'll talk to you
Let
later.
me see.
See you, bye. All right, okay. Yeah, we're going to be calling up Kerry Clark in about a minute or so. And what were we doing? Oh, got Georgia, LSU, and South Carolina at 3-2. Then Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and Florida at 2, and Texas A&M at 2-3. Arkansas is 1-4, and in the bottom is Missouri and Vandy at 0-5. So neither team has won a conference game yet. Wow, that's pretty wild. Okay, let's see where we go. Gonna have to find the phone. Oh, okay, we can do that real easy. All right, we're gonna try to find Kerry real quick. All right. But anyway, yeah, we're going to be calling him up in a second. But that's what's going on in men's basketball. Alabama and Auburn will be playing each other Wednesday night. I don't know what time. I'll find out through Kerry. Wednesday night at Coleman Coliseum. All right. But anyway, let's go ahead and call him up now. Oh, boy.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing, big man? What's going on this morning?
I couldn't tell you, man.
Well, understand, do you pronounce it Jeremy, the wide receiver?
Sure. Yeah.
What's his last name again?
Bernard.
Bernard is committed to Alabama. The center is committed to Alabama, which we hope he can snap it a lot better than the previous center that was there.
Uh,
Any what's going on with Ryan Williams, or do you know they're sounding pretty optimistic? Do you still think they got a shot at getting him?
we're the leader,
Oh, good.
but other people still have a shot. I'd say it's probably 80-20 Alabama.
That's good. Now, if he can get him back in the fold, that would be good. I don't mean to be negative, but other than Julian Sayin and maybe one other guy, is anybody else other than him hit the transfer portal that was coming in or was there for
This
2024?
24 class.
Yes,
I think there was one more, but I mean, if they had never even played a snap, who cares?
that's true.
Mm-hmm. You know, you were coming to play for Saban and not the University of Alabama. You need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep.
Don't let the front door hit you where the good Lord split you.
That's right. And that's looks like Ohio State is trying to buy everybody they can to get up there. If he falls flat on his face, then that will be, if he loses to Michigan, especially if Harbaugh leaves, then he's in a heap of trouble, as the late, great Rush Limbaugh used to say. What else is going on football-wise before we go into basketball?
Well, I mean, they're on the road recruiting all over the country and trying to fill a few spots. And there was another former Washington player that visited a cornerback by the name of Jabbar Muhammad, who's down to Alabama and Texas, but he didn't commit to Alabama. And there's a outside linebacker, I guess, in this new defense. He'll be more of a defensive end by the name of Noah Carter that was committed to Washington and visited Alabama, and I think privately committed, but he didn't publicly commit yet, but he's going to. So everything's on the up and up and the rebound, and things are slowly but surely getting back to normal around here.
Well, I think a lot of people went into panic mode after some of these guys, and I don't know, a lot of these people that hit the transfer portal, a lot of them, I hate to say this, and I keep up with Alabama pretty good. We're not exactly, I mean, you don't want to lose nobody, but I mean, other than Caden Downs and somebody else or two, or the wide receiver, I don't know if you really gotten really hit hard as some people trying to act like it was, and other than.
Well, you lost your starting left tackle and you lost your starting All-American free safety.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out how you're going to replace those two guys. But everybody else that left has already been replaced by somebody as good, if not better.
Yeah.
And that includes the center and the receiver, Bond.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, anyway. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk some basketball real quick. It did not. Alabama was undefeated like Auburn is now in the SEC until they went to Knoxville, and then looked like to me they ran into a buzzsaw up there. Tell us your take on that game Saturday.
They played a team that was better than them. They were on the road, and they played a team that was ranked number 6 in the country, and Alabama is not ranked. If they had counted every vote there was, Alabama would have been about 29th, but they weren't ranked, and they're not going to be ranked, and not this week anyway.
No.
And they went out there, and they played a more physical team, and they played a team that plays great defense for 40 minutes in your face.
Yeah.
And that's how you beat Alabama. And they took away the 3-point shot from Alabama, and they guarded them great, better than anybody's guarded them all year. And Tennessee is really good. They've got Final Four talent, and they're in the league with Kentucky and Auburn right now at the top of the SEC. And then right below that, you've got another group that has Alabama in it. But Alabama is knocking on the door, but they're not quite in the top tier of the SEC yet. But Alabama is still an NCAA tournament team. Don't get me wrong on that. They're just still trying to get certain things to mesh and gel, and they'll find out a whole lot about how their season's going to go Wednesday night when 5-0 in the SEC. Auburn comes in here to play them here in Tuscaloosa Wednesday night, 6:30.
All right, what channel is that on? ESPN?
I believe so.
Okay, well, that will be an interesting game, and there'll be a lot. I can imagine the whole place will be filled up to the rafters, and I can tell you that they'll be loud as I'll get out that night.
Oh yeah, the crowd will be a big part of it, but we'll have to see how Auburn responds and how Alabama responds. I mean, I don't think anybody is going to go all the way through the SEC undefeated in the conference, and right now everybody's got a loss in the SEC except Auburn.
Yeah.
So Wednesday sounds like a good time for them to get their first one.
They might get it, and you remember when we were up the first year we were in school at Alabama, Kentucky comes to Tuscaloosa.
Never forget it.
And they were ranked number 1 in the nation, and Alabama was not. They had a great coach in C.M. Newton, but they were not. Needless to say, from a talent standpoint, it was a big time deficit. But Alabama, I remember that day I was going to practice for the wrestling team at the time, and I said, one thing Alabama's got going from them, they might can out-quick them, and they did.
Yeah, started 3 guards, and CM had a great game plan, and I was there that night as a freshman, and that was probably the night that I got hooked on Alabama basketball, watching them do that to Kentucky. I was like, wow, did that really just happen? Yeah. And I thought, this is fun. We are more than just a football school. Yeah. So that was good.
Yeah. But, I mean, this team, if you try to compare that team to this year's team, the talent level was wasn't as good today back then, but yet they beat, and they ended up winning the national championship also, and they weren't just number 1 at the time. They ended up winning the whole thing, so I'm laughing at somebody said, overflow crowd for Wednesday's night game can gather at Big C's. But anyway, if anybody wants to come by and watch it with me, that's fine with me. But anyway, what else is going on sports-wise up there? Now, Nick? What's the guy's name, that amateur golfer that won a big tournament, a PGA tournament yesterday?
Nick Dunlap. He's a sophomore at Alabama. He's the first amateur to win that tournament since 1991. And he made history, and now he's got to decide if he wants to go pro or not. So he may have played his last match for Alabama. Well, but he is a sophomore here and a phenomenal golfer, and just was incredible yesterday. And the coach, Dick Spivey, was out there at the tournament. And the third place finisher is an Alabama graduate, too, Justin Thomas. So It was a big day for Alabama golf yesterday on the national scene. No doubt about it.
All right, now you said Dick Spivey was their former head coach of the golf team. What is?
I didn't mean to say Dick Spivey. I meant to say Jay Sewell, the current coach. I'm sorry.
That was a great hire by our coach. More on hiring him.
Jay Sewell was a relatively unknown guy. He was coaching in Augusta, Georgia, and Coach Moore dipped down there and got him, and he's been a great coach here. Has won, I think, 1 or 2 national championships and gotten second a couple times. And but it won't be the same if Dunlap goes pro, and he probably will. He hadn't announced it yet, but I think he is going to go pro. So
where is he from? Where is he from?
I believe Mobile.
Oh, wow. I never heard of him before. I remember there was a guy named Bobby White from down there, and he was a great amateur golfer, a great high school golfer. I think he did fairly well at Alabama. And I don't know. You don't hear much out of him anymore, but he was unbelievable as a high schooler. Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But Dunlap had an incredible day yesterday, and he's probably going to go pro, but that's not official yet. But if he does, it'd be a big blow to Alabama. They still got good golfers here, but he's incredible.
Yeah. Well, anybody that can do that as an amateur and win a PGA tournament since 1991 is pretty impressive. But anyway, well, we'll call you back next Monday. You said Fridays is not a good day for you right now, but we'll do that. But thank you for being on this morning.
All right, Big C. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye. Okay, folks. There we go. Gary Clark was on for the week. We're gonna just have him on Mondays instead of during the football season. We'll more than likely have him on twice. Uh, do a review of the games and then go from there. But anyway, I like that. Come on, Gary. Get the name. I hope. Look, hey, good morning to you, Lori Pate. How are you doing out in Idaho? Is it still white out that way? Snow on the ground and all that good stuff. But anyway, what we're gonna do now? We did the men's before. We called up Carrie. We were doing the men's standings. Now we're gonna do the women's standings. And well, first we're gonna do their scores, and then standings in women's basketball. South Carolina beat finally thawing out. That's good. South Carolina 99, Texas A&M 64. South Carolina's undefeated, ranked number 1 in the nation. Full Willie scored 421 for South Carolina, and Rogers for A&M scored 21. LSU won over Arkansas almost by the same exact score, 99-68. Williams for LSU had 21. Spencer for Arkansas had 20. Uh, okay, Ole Miss 69, Georgia 59. Todd Williams had 22 for Ole Miss, while Nicholson had 14 for Georgia. Kentucky 76, Missouri 71. Russell had 20 for Kentucky, and Frank had 24 for Missouri. Then Tennessee won 73 to 64 over Vanderbilt. Jackson had 16 for Tennessee, while Moore had 19 for Vandy. And then Auburn 78, Alabama 65. Scott Grayson had 19 for Auburn, while Timmons had 26 for Alabama. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the SEC rankings. Standings. We're gonna just do the records. We're not gonna do all the overall, which we should have. But anyway, South Carolina is 5-0. LSU is 5-1. They lost to Auburn the other night. Tennessee is 5-1. Vandy is 4-2. They're really good. They beat Auburn the other day after they beat LSU. Ole Miss is 3-2. Mississippi State is 2-3. So is Kentucky. So is A&M. They're 2-3. Kentucky 2-3, and Arkansas is 2-3. In the SEC, Auburn and Alabama and Missouri, are 2-4 in the conference, and then Florida is 1-3, and Georgia is pulling it up from the back, the caboose at 1-5. And speaking about Georgia, they've had some really great basketball teams, and I decided to look up Andy Landers. He's their Hall of Fame coach. He was the one that, when they really did well, he was the one that did it. And that was a real interesting story about him. He's only, he's 71. He was born in 1952. He's from the state of Tennessee. He graduated from Tennessee Tech University in Cookeville, Tennessee. And then he went to a place called Roane, Roane, Community College. And I think he was an assistant. Then he became the head coach. Did real well. And then the first hire that Vince Dooley made as athletic director at Georgia was he hired him as the head women's basketball coach. And they ended up going to several Final Fours. to make it interesting, but they never came close to. I don't know if they were they might have been the bridesmaid, but they never opened the door or made it to the penthouse. But he had a great record. He's retired now, but what he does now, he's an analyst on women's for the SEC Network for women's basketball, and I've seen him on there. He knows what he's talking about. Needless to say, the record speaks for itself on that. So anyway, he was really a great coach. Now, I'm going to have to look up on some of these other coaches. Of course, Dawn Staley's at South Carolina. Kim Mulkey's at LSU. Now, Ole Miss had a guy named Van Chancellor who was really good. Kentucky's been good in women's basketball. Of course, with Tennessee, Pat Head Summit. I don't know what. She was from a place called Henrietta, Tennessee, I believe, and then she went to UT Martin. And then they hired her. I think she got hired as 22-year-old head coach while she was at the beginning of her head coaching career at Tennessee. She also played on the 1976 Olympic team up in Montreal. And I got to look all that up. I need to look up some more information on her so we can talk a little better about her. But yeah, she was, needless to say, a legend, and she ended up one. For a minute, slip sliding away. But she ended up winning 8 national championships up there. So she had a dynasty going on up there at Tennessee. Yeah, she was a firecracker. She sure was. I like that term, firecracker. I'd say Kim Mulkey, the head coach at LSU's one now. But anyway, yeah, I like that term when you call somebody a girl a firecracker. Really, describes them pretty good. But anyway, yeah, in a few minutes we're going to be talking with Dean Myrick, the commissioner of the Alabama Community College Conference. Let me sort of get ready for him. What's going to be interesting to find out through him is, was there a lot of cancel or postponements of games last week, which would not surprise me at all. Dean Myrick, we got him on here. All right. But anyway, now the women play their games on Thursdays and Sundays. So the next game, I don't know who's playing what, but we'll mention that. And then you got the men playing tomorrow night and Wednesday night on for the men. So, and then they also play on Saturdays. So that gives them plenty of time. Lori Pate, calm down. Big C, you old dog. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and call up Dean Myrick, the commissioner, see what's going on with Alabama. I'm going to tell him about an article I read and ask him his opinion on that. Hope we're able. I might have to hang up on him and call him back. I'll hang up for a second, and then I'm going to try him back in a minute or two, or let him call back. I hope he calls back. But if he doesn't, we'll call him back. Yeah, we're going to find out through Dean what's going on with the Alabama Community College Conference. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to get him in the habit of keeping up with the standings so we can at least find out who the first 2 or 3 teams, or if they got divisions, who the top teams are, and all that good stuff. And so we'll figure something out to talk about. But right this minute, we'll be talking about. I don't know. Right now, as cold as it is, I don't see how in the heck you practice. Yeah, he might be. He might be trying to catch deer also. I wonder where Lewis is. Hope everything's okay. With him, we'll find out later on. But anyway, where are we at? Let me go. Excuse me. Yeah, that night that Alabama played, excuse me on that. That night that Alabama played Kentucky, they really did a number on them. I'll tell you a little story about that.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, Dean, how you doing? I'm glad we was able to get a hold of you. How you doing today?
I'm all right.
Are you at home or are you already in the office?
In the office.
I see. Well, all right. Last week, as you know, the weather was pretty crazy. Did y'all get to play any games, or did y'all have to postpone them for later? Or what?
We had some postponed. Yeah, we still have some that are still closed today. It's just not melting. Of course, then it's supposed to rain pretty much all week now.
Yeah. Oh,
So
golly.
yeah, our spring sports are taking a beating right now. So but no, I think overall basketball wise, we're in good shape. I think we got 1 or 2 games we need to to get done, but other than that, we're good.
Well, I know Florence had a lot of snow. I don't know if Decatur did or not. Probably did.
They did. Calhoun's closed today. Still, and
What about
so
Shoals Community College up there in
they're
Florence?
they're closed today as well. And I saw a video they posted. They have turf now on their fields, and I mean it's still frozen. They're still trying to block ice off of
I,
it.
I don't. I just thought of this. Yeah, you're talking about AstroTurf. You're talking about baseball and softball. I mean, right now, I don't. You can't. And when does the season starts for those 2 sports for y'all?
Next week.
I wonder how much practice time they. I mean, I just.
Very, very, very little. Outside. They're able to go inside and hit and all, but of course, that's not the same as
Being outdoors, like you said.
being outdoors and being able to take ground balls and stuff. So they'll be a little bit behind the 8 ball, but they'll be all right.
Well, and then they also had fall ball, so that shouldn't be
Yeah.
too rusty or couldn't. But I still think they will be, like you said, will be behind. I just hope. See, I don't know. I got a friend that coaches high school baseball, and I don't know what's the reason why they start baseball and softball in February, which, in my opinion, is not a cold weather sport. Is it just because so many games they play and all that? Is that what the reason why, or what's the deal?
Well, for us, yeah. But high school, I definitely think the high schools could, and we could too, to be honest with you. I mean, we could start a little later. You can still keep the games as it is. It's not a requirement. You got to play that many games.
Yeah.
But with us, and it's a little bit different nationally because normally, we're not having these issues, as you know, with ice and snow and all of that stuff. So, and that's always been a point of contention with the Northern and Midwest teams is, we would start playing. We'll have teams that start playing next week, and by the time you get to February, they may have played 6-8 games, but then you'll have some that are Northeast, Midwest, Northwest that may not get on their field until the end of February. So that's why we get a lot of those teams coming south. To get games in, and but yeah, high school, everybody be on the same page, because you can't get 48 states on the same page, at our level, but you can. I think you can statewide, because obviously, when the season starts, high school wise, the South teams would have a big advantage over the Northern team, and but.
No, I just remember when I was in high school, plus that was a few years ago, we would, how did it work? They had basketball going on, and then when basketball was over, spring practice for football would come into play, and then play baseball, but didn't play as many baseball games back then like you do now. But still, I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's, and then somebody told me now they claim they don't need spring practice. Well, I tell you this, they might not on the high school level, but they definitely do need it on the college level for football, in my opinion, especially if you got a new coach in there and all that. That's definitely what you need, but that's my opinion on that. But plus also football's making a lot more money on the college level than, I don't know, some high schools might make pretty good money on football on that, but that'd be, I don't know how much, but let me think. There was something else. Oh, let me ask you your opinion of this. We're gonna go into the NIL again, and I don't know. No, I know I didn't tell you this. There was an article called "On the Hook." It's about Tennessee sports, but a guy named Jimmy Hammonds, I think is how you pronounce his name, wrote an article and said that the NIL is already getting unsustainable for Tennessee already. And he was saying in his article, and the thing that really jumped out at me, now I know some schools might not do this, but I think the bigger schools can. Like, you need to have a salary cap like they do with the NBA and the NFL. And he was saying something like he said 25 million or down from there. Now, what's your opinion of that? Because if you did that, and like with this TV money coming out, especially for the bigger schools, I think they could budget that each year. What's your opinion about having a salary cap on this stuff?
Well, obviously you've got the big lawsuit now going on with NCAA, and if the NCAA loses that lawsuit, I've heard it's going to cost them anywhere between $4 and $5 billion.
What's the lawsuit about? I didn't even know this. I'm glad I mentioned it.
It's basically going to, kind of like the previous ones, making them employees and all of that. So I think people need to be leery of salary caps and all of that, because you make athletes employees, you're going to have a lot of athletic departments fold because they're not going to be able to afford that. Because once you make somebody an employee, you got benefits, you got salary, and you've got all that stuff, and you're not. You can't do that, and so this law, and it doesn't look good for them winning that lawsuit. So, I think you got to be very careful when you start throwing salaries, because obviously, if you get a salary, then you're an employee, and whether it's part-time, full-time, whatever it is. But
do you think the NCAA could do a settlement, like give them everybody a stipend or somewhat, like
I don't know how they afford that. I mean, you talk, because obviously the big discussion is the football, basketball, deal. But, what concerns me and a lot of other people is, you're going to lose the majority of your Olympic sports.
oh yeah,
Because you're not, your swimmings and track and field and tennis and those sports like wrestling and stuff like they're going to be gone.
yeah,
And that's concerning. Having and I'm forget my role. As a parent, that's concerning because like all three of my kids swim. So
yeah.
that's does that cut out any or not? Maybe not all, but does it severely limit their options? Because now schools are folding because they can't afford it, or I don't know. It's a mess, and if they don't reel it in soon, I saw an article yesterday. Ohio State has already spent $19 million on NIL on this recruiting class.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And they got 2 players from Alabama on that deal.
Yes, $19 million, and that's just football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if we would have brought this up 15 years ago, it's like, man, that's crazy.
Well,
That ain't
a friend of mine that's was an athletic administrator told me when they filed that lawsuit, Ed O'Banion and all them, what they should have done, I think they could have settled out of court. But no, the NCAA decided, no, we're going to fight it, and they lost, and now got this going on. So I don't know. It's pretty bad. It's pretty discouraging. But anyway, well, big man, I want to thank you for calling. Well, we were able to call you back and talk to you. Appreciate it, and we'll be back next week.
Sounds good, Colin. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Have a good
big
one.
man. You too. See you,
All
Dean. Bye-bye. All right. Okay, that was Dean Myrick, the commissioner. Gosh, that's sort of depressing to hear that. It's scary, too. It says right now, it looks like they are not. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Jimmy Rudder, how are you, big man?
Good morning, Big C. How you doing today?
Great. How are you doing, wild man?
I'm doing good. What'd you do this weekend?
Stayed home 99% of the time. I went out for a few minutes to pick up some medicine at the grocery store and got me something to eat. But otherwise, I stayed inside. It was too cold to go out messing around.
I hear you. Did you get to watch the NFL playoffs, or did you worry about watching those?
I'm not really worried about it, but I did find out some scores. I understand Kansas City is not favored next week. Who is it they're playing?
They're playing the Baltimore Ravens.
How good is the Ravens this year, in your opinion? Tell us.
Very, very good. They're probably the best team in the NFL right now. The way they've been playing. But at first of the year, I thought that San Francisco, during some of the meat of the season, I thought that San Francisco was going to be the team. But the Ravens have they destroyed them in the game earlier this year, not too long ago.
Oh, really? How bad was it?
It was like 40-something to 20-something. It was bad. It was ugly.
There was no doubt who had the better team.
Right. But they're playing Kansas City, and Kansas City is the defending world champion, and they haven't been played as good as they did last year. But they get in the playoffs, they're hard to beat.
Well,
but they're playing the Ravens at home.
What, they're playing them in Kansas City or up in Baltimore?
No, they're playing them in Baltimore.
That's going to be an advantage for the Ravens there, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, both places are cold.
Yeah.
So they're both used to playing in cold weather.
Yeah.
And the NFC playoffs, the San Francisco 49ers, I mean, they just have not been – they lose one of their weapons. So they lost a guy named Deebo Samuel, The
Yeah,
receiver.
I remember that name. He played at South Carolina, if I'm not wrong. Am I right on that?
Well, I'm not sure where he played his college football at, but he he got hurt and they just weren't as good as they normally are. They're not the same team. They lose
He was a
one
bit.
of those guys.
He's a
You
big
know the
drop off, and they don't have somebody backing him up that's pretty good. Then it's
right. He
or
loses one of his weapons. He's kind of
now
lost.
who's the quarterback out there now?
His name is Brock Purdy. He's
I've heard of him. Yeah.
actually he was a year before last. He was Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last player chosen in the draft
Mhm.
2 years ago.
Mhm. Well, he's not irrelevant no more, is he?
No, he played at Iowa State.
Okay, I've heard of him. I know the name. I just didn't know where he played.
And
Now,
then you got Detroit, which that's the team that's got the most Alabama players left on it in the tournament now. So
yeah.
you got Brian Branch, you got Jameson Williamson,
Mhm.
and you got Jameer Gibbs, and you got there's one more. There's another one that don't come to mind right yet.
All right, let me ask you this question. All right, is it still the Redskins that's got, or what was known as the Redskins?
Yeah, the team formerly known as the Redskins.
I
Yeah,
think now have I been reading right or wrong on this that there's some Indian groups that want to get that back? I just think it's so stupid.
I hadn't heard that, but that's crazy.
It's idiotic to change the name. I hope the Braves and the Seminoles down at Florida State don't give in on all this garbage. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, it was a classic name. I mean,
Yeah,
the Skins and the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys and the Indians. That was just one of
yeah,
the classic matchups
yeah,
back in the day.
yeah. Oh yeah,
You talked to Kerry today?
yeah. We had him on.
Did he have anything new to offer as far as information?
He thinks that where's Ryan Williams? Who's he going down between Alabama,
Texas
Texas? But he said that we're looking
or Auburn?
really. No, not Auburn. It's probably Texas. We're looking pretty good to get him. 80-20 chance of getting him is what he said.
Alabama or Texas?
Alabama.
Well, he was on campus this weekend, and we did get a couple of Washington players that transferred this weekend.
Yeah, the center and a wide
Yeah.
receiver. Now, did they get they had a left tackle that was pretty good. Is he coming down this way or not, or do you know?
I have not heard about a left tackle from.
Washington, that is.
No, I hadn't heard about the tackle. They got a defensive back that we want.
Yeah, the wide receiver is committed.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's
he
pretty
came.
good. So, anyway, and he knows how to play the transfer portal because when he took over at Washington, they were 4-8. The next year went 11-2. So, and that guy they call him the general manager, supposed to be really good. So we'll wait and see what all happens. So that will be.
I think we're in good shape. I'm not concerned at all.
No,
We'll
we're
let
gonna
the
be
guy do
fine.
his job.
No, just let him do his
We got
job.
enough players that want to be there.
Yeah.
They're 4-star. I mean, we got like 14 4-stars still. I mean, 5-stars still left on the team.
5
and
star.
11. Yeah, 14 5-stars. There's still left on the team, and 11 of them will be starters, according to everybody's projection. So 11 of our first 22 are going to be 5-star recruits.
All right. If
So
that
I'm not worried about our players being there.
the only thing we got to make sure of is we have depth behind them because of that. But otherwise, yeah, we'll be fine, like you said. Guess what, big man? We're about out of time, but I want to thank you for being on here.
No problem, Big C. You have a great day today, and roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide. See you, Jimmy. You have a great day, big man. Okay, he just went off, and we're going off right now. But y'all have a great day, and we'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.